Hello everyone, and welcome to my blog post. Sometimes forced change brings out the best within. Before I get into this blog post and the meaning of it, I'm going to give you an example of how this happened to me, and it obviously changed my life for the better. So, if you had read the blog post before, if you haven't, I'm still going to provide the full on story of what I'm trying to convey here. So, if you watch my intro video, my about video, you may know a little bit more about me, but this one goes in a little more deeper about what kind of started Sunny Success and how it started. So, it basically started when I was in high school. I graduated. I had no desire, no ambition to do anything in life. I didn't believe in myself or anything like that. So, graduated in June. And then a couple weeks later, I got a full time job in retail because my plan was to take a year off. And it was mainly because I really didn't know what to do and I didn't want to deal with it. It wasn't necessarily I needed the year off. It's just that I honestly did not know what I wanted to do. So I'm like, I can avoid this decision. I'll leave it here for a year or so. But, obviously that year turned into 2 years almost. And at this time, I was just kind of, going through the motions day in, day out. Everyone was telling me, like, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do? Why don't you go to school? Why don't you do this? And I wasn't having any of it. And so within that 2 year, um, even though my life, I wasn't happy with it, the desire to change was not strong enough. Okay. So even though I wasn't enjoying what I was doing, I didn't have, the mindset. I didn't have the self awareness. I didn't have the motivation to wanna do something about my situation. Okay, so I kept going on, and obviously, um, my lack of enthusiasm, my lack of focus, lack of direction, and my resentment towards where I was started to show on the job. So the last 6 months leading up to my job, I was getting a lot of performance evaluations, a lot of final warnings, being late, not being focused, not being engaged, and all that, and eventually just boiled over. And when I did end up getting fired and losing my job, although I kind of had a feeling that was coming, it was very very devastating. I was like, what am I gonna do now? Like, you know. And a couple months before that had actually happened, I had actually considered upgrading some English courses and math courses, which I was doing. So I was doing that because I felt like, regardless of what I want to pursue, this is a start. But at the time when I was working, I didn't have enough. I wasn't devoting enough time because I was like, oh yeah, I'm working full time. I'm going to the gym. I don't have time to figure out what I want to do to better my life, right? So I had an option to make my life better. I had the option to take the initiative to do so, but I didn't. So once I got terminated, I didn't know what to do. It was so lost, and for a month or so, I felt sorry for myself. Like, what do I do with my life? I don't have a job. No one's gonna hire me. I this is tough. And then, eventually, I just told myself I can make something out of this. I can make something better. So that's where it started. A fire lit under me that I'm like, okay, you know what? Stop, Sonny. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. It's time to go on and do something to make your life better. So for the next several weeks, I started to, go to the university, talk to some counselors, and then eventually, um, I got, I gained passion to be get an HR degree and a business diploma, and then that's where it started. And once I started school, I feel like that's where I really developed my work ethic, my self awareness, my drive, my determination, persistence. I told myself I'm gonna do everything I can to make the most of this opportunity because that pain I felt when I was fired, I'm gonna use that every time I feel like giving up. That I feel like this is too hard or I don't care, that and that. So I use that as fuel to motivate me every time I was in school, and I made sure every class was when I gave it my all because I wanted to better my life. So, looking back on it, in the moment, yes, I was very upset, heartbroken. But honestly, looking back on that now, 8 years later, that's probably one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. And I'm so grateful that I got fired, because that forced change made me look at myself. That forced change allowed me to bring out the real person in me, bring out the real Sunny, right? You know, they always say that when you're confronted with a change, you discover yourself. Either you're gonna run and, say, no, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or the real you is gonna come out. The one that's been inside you this whole time is gonna come over and take over and make sure you make the best of it. So that firing was a blessing in disguise, and I'm so happy it happened, because I got the opportunity to take that change, that forced change, and give it my all. Like, I accepted it, I embraced it, and I dominated it. And because of that, I was able to do better in my life. So, anyone out there, and I hope you're still listening to the video. If you're here at the final message, I just want to say, think of a past situation, or even a future situation that may occur to you. If there's something in your life, whether it be school, work, family, friends, anything that forces a change that you have no control over, right? There's situations we can't control, but we can control the way we react to them and the way we come back from them. That's what we control. That's the same thing I want to tell you guys. If there's a situation that brings out that makes you change, happily accept that change. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult at first. Like for me, it was the first month. I didn't know what to do, but don't dig yourself too deep in a hole, because you can accept that change, embrace it, and work yourself so hard that eventually over time you will see that change is a blessing in disguise. So remember, forced change can bring out the best within. Until next time, thank you.